I'm going to talk about something now. It's sun soil. Do you even know what that is? I'm going to explain it because that's what I do. These days, I'm telling you, it seems like people are putting CBD in everything. In your green shakes. Do you have green shakes? Do you have the shakes? CBD will help you. See, a lot of it's noise that's out there. But there's one company from Vermont that's worth the hype. It's Sun Soil, and they're in Vermont. How do you not trust something in Vermont? Now, Sun Soil makes tons of products. A lot of people I know use them, and they love them. It is a USDA organic product. It is certified CBD, and it's made from hemp plants. So how the hemp is grown really matters, and sometimes it's not grown well. This is not done by non-experts. This isn't regular civilians. These are people that have farms. Sun Soil farms their hemp in Vermont, and they never use pesticides, herbicides, or GMOs. Simple ingredients, really simple. I try to be mindful about what I'm putting in my body, and I'm talking about, things I ingest, not what I'm putting, That's why Sun Soil is great, and I love it for people that love it, and it's made from simple ingredients that I can pronounce. Many of their products contain coconut oil and hemp. That's it. Do you understand? It's really simple, and it's organic, and it's got fair prices because Sun Soil farms their hemp and makes their CBD oil in-house. Their prices are less than half the price of other brands, so you get organic CBD at an unbeatable price. Transparency? That's me. I'm all about seeing through what I'm saying. Sun Soil clearly labels the amount of CBD that's in each serving. Sun Soil also tests every batch of product at these independent labs and publishes the results on their website. You can read it, and it's real. Sometimes you read stuff because someone just said it. This is actually research, and they publish it on their website. And they give back. Sun Soil donates a percentage of sales via 1% for the planet to environmental and community causes. So Sun Soil makes CBD oil with simple organic ingredients. You get 30% off your first order by going to sunsoil.com/Bob. That's sunsoil.com/Bob, sunsoil.com/Bob for 30% off your first order, sunsoil.com/Bob. You won't be sorry unless you've done something else. Hey, everybody. Bob Saget, and I am here for you, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm very happy because I'm tired. I don't know if you guys are tired. I have been tired. It's just an emotionally draining time, right? What are we going to do? That's what we're doing. And I hope you're doing okay. I've had 2 cups of coffee today, which is more than usual, but my brain is still not fully functional because I didn't sleep enough last night, but that's okay. That's where we're at. I'm sure some of you are like that right now. Some of you might have slept great. I slept like a baby because I can't do that. I was going to do a breastfeeding joke, and I won't because I want to start high road here because I have a high road guest. It's Alison Rosen. Alison Rosen of the incredibly long-lived 10-year podcast, Alison. I'm really doing well. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. 10 years. Alison Rosen is your new best friend, and it's really quite popular and quite wonderful because she's popular and wonderful. She is adorable. I've done her podcast over the years. She also has a wonderful podcast with Greg Fitzsimmons, who I love, called Childish, which is really cool. And both of these podcasts I recommend totally. She is endearing. She is real. She's really good at what she does. And she's my guest in just a moment. Of course, you want to do what you do with this, which is subscribe or follow, and whatever you're listening to it on, and rate and review it. Right? But don't do that 1-star thing. Go all the way. Just give me a 5-star Michelin, although 3 is the highest Michelin. So go with 5 on the YouTube world. And you can make comments. I like your comments. I read them. They've been pretty nice, by the way, so thank you. I love doing this, and I love talking to people that I care about. Of course, there's a phone number up there, right there in your little podcast browser there that tells you a phone number you can call, and I'll announce on Twitter or Instagram Live or Facebook when I'll be calling you guys. So I call and I talk to you, and that's episodes that I often drop, as they say. Why am I dropping it? I want to pick it up on Thursdays. And then on Mondays, I have my guests, and sometimes I have guests on Thursdays also because we like to, shake it up because that's how I like. Remember Shake and Bake? God, I like that. My mom would make it. You shake it in a bag, shake and bake. It was very, I don't know, does it exist? Or do they find out it's made of chemicals and sawdust? The sponsor's going to like that. Anyway, sit back, sit up, relax, push up, lay down, and enjoy my guest right now. Here comes Alison Rosen. So, I'm real tired today. How about you?
Yes, I feel exhausted, and I don't think I'm getting enough sleep. But
Right.
it feels more existential than that. And I was thinking earlier, like, why? I mean, yes, I have 2 little kids.
And
but,
that's huge. How old are they now?
3.5 and 1.5.
Oh, my. So they're not
Yeah.
driving.
No, Elliot is my 3.5. And here are the things that he thinks happen when he gets older. He can have gumballs. He can drink coffee. He can drive. And the one he just added to his list is he can put salt on his food.
Wow. He's going to be an elderly Jewish man.
I know.
So that's the baby I saw when I was over your place to do your podcast.
Yes. I was trying to figure out how many times you had been on my podcast, and the answer is you've been on mine. You've been on Alison Rosen as your new best friend twice. You've been on Childish once. You're coming back to Alison Rosen as your new best friend. But I was looking at the photos of us, and I was so svelte the first time you were on, and then the second time I was like, holy cow. And it is because I think I had just had him, right?
Well, welcome to my life, and I can't use pregnancy as a reason. Mine is just like, if I ever Google my name every hour, but if I ever do, 1 year I'm the Great Pumpkin, and then I'm back to being a human being. And it's weird because this is an exhausting time. And I'm sure you talk about it all the time because I've been talking about it. And I did a podcast, because you're so easy to talk to. That's why you're so good at this. You have 12 podcasts now, I know. But
yeah. I just started. I have 13 now. I just started another one.
It's so lucky, that number. I like the buildings that have in their elevator, the number 13 are the same people. The contractors don't wear masks.
Yes. I lived on the 14th, but really the 13th floor. And I'm still, at the time, I liked it. It was in Murray Hill in New York. So like 39th between 1st and 2nd. Not a particularly desirable area.
Right.
This big high rise. And I lived on the 13th floor in an apartment that didn't have a balcony. And almost all the other apartments had balconies. And I feel like at the very least, but compared to where I lived before in a sublet, I was just like, oh my God, I'm in the lap of luxury. But I feel like at the very least, I should have gotten a discount. Don't you think?
Right now you could.
Right.
Right at this moment is a great time to move back.
But what's funny you say that because so many people are leaving New York. And in the back of when I left New York, when I moved out here, I was like, I don't feel like I'm done with this city. And periodically I get this yearning to go back, which by the way, my husband doesn't share at all. So a lot of things would have to happen in my life to allow me to go there. Some bad things would have to, or good. But anyway, I was like, now probably is the time.
It's not a bad thing. Well, if you can, it's very hard to move and be COVID careful and all that. I have one daughter that lives downtown and one that lives in Brooklyn, and they're coming out here Christmas time, which is really nice. One's driving cross country, the other's going to fly, and they go crazy precautions. And I read last night that the safest place you can be travel wise is on a plane, and they try to make me feel better by saying
was that like in an airline magazine?
It wasn't, but it was done, I'm sure, funded by the people that are your 3 airlines that still exist,
right?
And SkyWest, but they said that your chances they really got it down to your chances of getting hit by lightning are greater. That was the headline. Than your chances of getting COVID on an airplane. That it's that safe. But then it says there were 45 cases of COVID total from an airplane that they think they got it from the passenger next to them. But they said that's not a lot because more people die getting hit by lightning. I'm like, what?
So
that's where we're at.
The takeaway is just we should all be afraid of lightning.
I think that's what it. I think a plane getting hit by lightning, that would be.
Yes.
That's not a good one.
What I heard, because I also didn't know whether to be nervous about an airplane or not us flying, but my mother-in-law comes to visit and she was going to fly and we made her drive.
But you like her?
Yes.
Yeah. I like my mother-in-law too. I don't want her to get anything.
Well, I see. But I mean, totally, if I'm being totally honest, it wasn't about her health. It was about our health. It was about her coming on the plane and bringing something to us.
Good. Okay, good. Glad you kept her away and don't care what happens to her.
But what I read is that planes, because of the filtration, like the entire, all the air in the plane turns over every however many seconds or minutes or whatever. So it is pretty safe unless they turn the ventilation system off, which they do when they taxi. Like there's various reasons they turn that off. And then it is like you're all sharing the same air. And what I read said, if you notice them turn it off, tell them to turn it back on. And I'm thinking, who is the airline passenger who's going to be doing that? I don't think that's going to go well.
Well, I don't know if the newer planes. I'm sorry. What were you going to finish with? I didn't want.
Oh, no. I was going to go back to being exhausted because
that's
a crowd-pleasing topic.
It is, because that's what I want to talk about, because that's what everybody is right now, because we're beaten up. Well, I'll get there. Let me just my wife is a producer of a lot of videos, commercials, and she did a thing for United, and they took her under the plane and they showed her the HEPA filter, and this is new stuff. And the HEPA filter every 2.5 minutes draws in from the outside air, which I never knew. So people are on a plane, so every 2.5 minutes it's recycled with outside air, not just the air in the plane. But then I thought, what if a crow gets caught? Then feathers are going into your lungs. The feathers flying out. But it's a filter, so you're cool that way. So that was reassuring to me that the air is coming in from outside on the good planes that have been fitted with it.
Right.
So I don't know. I just want to be hit by lightning and get this thing over with. I just because as you're saying, we're exhausted.
I think it's because as humans, we have such an ability to adapt and I know that's very positive, and I'm not the most positive person, but I will sing the praises of humans for a moment.
You've seemed positive to me. I would think we share neurosis on different levels, but I think you're a positive person. You are. You're
Thank
everybody's
you.
best. Alison Rosen is your new best friend.
I try to be.
Well, you are.
I think we adapt and we normalize, and so every day that we go about our stuff, like I'll just speak for myself. I feel like in the background, my brain is trying to make this very unusual, very uncertain, very unsafe feeling at times situation normal. And I think that's what's exhausting. Like the decision fatigue, like today is my mom's birthday.
Tell her happy birthday.
I will. And we are going to go down maybe this weekend, but I feel like we should wait till the following weekend because my sister's husband had to go into his office building and he was around other people. However, everyone was wearing masks and like.
Is he going to get tested? Because I get tested if I go to the cleaners, and I don't want the cleaners coming here. So it's really weird. Is he going to get tested?
I think he is going to get tested today, but how much time do you put between the cleaners and getting tested?
A few days. I mean,
okay.
It depends if you listen to the White House or the scientists.
What do the scientists say?
It takes 4 days, I think. You can carry it around and be a carrier for 4 to 5 days, and then not even show symptoms and be giving it to people. So,
right.
But I had 7 tests in the past 12 days because Are you
serious?
Well, I did some television shows and I traveled a little bit. I flew to Ohio for Dave Chappelle's comedy, for his summer camp, and loved it. But I like to be careful. And my wife is traveling, so she wants to be careful. So she gets tested before she leaves, and then she gets tested. We just have to figure out if we have to quarantine because we wouldn't. Commingle, which I need very badly right now.
Yes. You love the commingling. What kind of, are you doing the like?
What kind of commingling do we do?
No.
Well, we do everything. No, that is not accurate. We're down to 3 moves. That's you got a good marriage if you got the moves. If you know what they are.
What kind of test you do? Like, are you doing the cheek swab or the nasal?
Well, they screwed us over and lied to us. So here's what happened. And I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm just a truth guy. The thing came out, which was the giant swab that they put up your nose and it goes into your medulla. So that that they found out quickly soon after making a lot of those tests, or those were the ones I think that were available. And then they had the short swab, which just goes in a nostril, a couple little twirls around, and that could be a rapid test or a longer test depending on where you get it. But they could have given people the new one, the short swab, but they didn't because they didn't want to spend the money on replacing the giant pipe cleaner. So they just decided to keep hurting people.
Keep lobotomizing people.
I wonder if anybody had any damage to their nasal cavity or to their brain.
Yeah, I don't know. I lucked out and I didn't ever jab my brain with that one.
Me
the
either.
only ones I've done are the cheek swabs. Although on Instagram, I watch people post videos of themselves doing the short nasal swab and acting like it's a whole thing. And I feel like my new crusade is going to be, that's not the bad one.
Right.
I don't know that anyone's going to care, but it's my passion. My passion is to bust people who are acting like it's a big deal. That you're not having the one that's a big deal.
No,
it's
correct.
not going in far enough.
Even if you are, that sucks because you want to do it. I have to do it a lot. So I would do it. If that's all there was, I would do it because we got to not infect. We got to not be infected and we got to not infect other people. And some people don't get that. They don't even think it's real. They think you can just do what, but who does.
Well, I don't know who you're talking about.
I can't even say the name. It's like Rumpelstiltskin now. I can't. I think that's why I'm exhausted. I think we are exhausted. I think the world's exhausted because the world is sick, and then the world's exhausted for people that don't want to address how we get this thing, and it's not. And a lot of people won't take a vaccine when there is one because they believe the world's flat. Also, some of them.
The crazy making is exhausting and crazy making, and I mean, the mixed messages. Don't let the fear of it dominate your life, but also change your entire. I don't know, but I am like you. I did a podcast yesterday where I interviewed this guy who wrote a book about the Constitution. So we were talking about politics, and I referred to him as our current president. Like, I couldn't say the name. I don't know why. It's like I expected if I even said the name. I've
actually had it because I don't want to. I've really had it. I'm not surprised anymore with that.
Oh yeah.
Don't say the name. I've just had it. So I just want everybody. I am on favor. People get so mad at me. They go, well, what side are you on? I got the side of humanity. And if you say that, it just sounds like, oh, you're John Lennon. No. But this is clearly about the human condition and our lives and how you believe in stuff that you find out. And if there's a vaccine, of course I'm going to take it. I mean, you got to be a nut job not to take it.
Right. I mean, I guess the people who are anti-vax, although if our current guy pushes through a vaccine that doesn't seem safe, and
I'm
it
not
just
taking
seems
anything
exactly
if he authorizes it. But we're not going to. Let's not talk about him.
Okay.
It makes my stomach get ready to rumble. I want to go to a Laker game. I want to go. We want life back. See, that's the problem because we're all, and the people that are deniers, they just want life back. They want it to be like it's not even here. So they're deniers. But we all want life back. All of us. We're all going nuts.
Yes.
And some people aren't because they're out doing stuff. But then you got the super spreader stuff, and I believe in that. It's obviously if everybody got it in Washington.
Right.
And we saw how they got it. We've got film, Well, it's not film. We have 8mm.
When it was okay, and if you don't want to go here, we don't have to. But I'm just curious. When it was first announced, when he tweeted that he had it, were you suspicious? Because I'm not a conspiracy person, but at the beginning,
Yeah, a lot of people didn't believe it, but I wasn't. My initial instinct was, of course he got it.
Yeah,
Right. Of course, everybody got it. When I watch events, and it's historical, and we will always have those video bites. We will always see everybody from everything not having any consideration for it at all. Even at the vice presidential debate, Mrs. Pence walked out without a mask on, and that's the mandate. They were supposed to wear them, and that was her moment of who she is. And it's just incorrect. It's not safe for her and not safe for him. He's the vice president. I don't know who she was around backstage, and he is the vice president. No matter what anybody thinks, that's what's happening, and we need our leaders to not be sick, and also to not say it'll go away, or I got great medicine that you can't get.
I know someone who went to the dentist, and the dentist wore a mask while working in her mouth, and then
but his pants were down.
Right.
I'll wear a mask, but my wiener is out.
It's one or the other.
I'm gonna have to. You don't want him to say I'm gonna have to drill you. You don't want that.
Right.
You want Novocaine for this?
It'll only hurt a bit. So afterwards,
don't worry. I'm gonna give you a filling. Oh, we could do this all day. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. So it's okay. So afterwards, though, he took the mask off to talk to her, and it didn't really register with her until afterwards, and she was really upset. No, she didn't say anything, which I get, but she was upset about it, telling me.
Absolutely.
But I keep thinking about it, and maybe the question is, does he not believe it's important, or was he a little bit on autopilot? Because if you think about it, medical people are so in the habit of taking the mask off to talk to you.
Well, not the ones I've experienced, and I've been around some medical people over this time. And
I mean pre-COVID. They were in the habit of
absolutely, yes.
So is that what happened, or does he just not think it's important to wear a mask?
Yeah, I don't want a dentist that careless. Even if he made a mistake, you're not going in. I'm leaving, and I've left. I've left when I know that, because I don't trust medicine as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Because I lost two sisters, and one of them in particular was basically murdered by someone thinking they could cure scleroderma, and you know what the doctor gave her, and he's no longer alive, but he should have been sued by my family. He gave her prednisone and cortisone, and that's what scleroderma affects your lungs, and you can die exactly like the COVID symptoms, pulmonary hypertension, your lungs. And this guy gave her 1,000 milligram drip of prednisone, then had her put in my car at noon. So he gave her a whole 1,000 milligrams bag drip at like 9 a.m, and then sent her home with that in my car. And so by 6 o'clock, she was in a hospital and almost died, because guess what happened to her? She got real hyper, started talking really fast, started going just crazy, because it gives you a psychotic episode. And she had a complete psychotic episode. And that's what prednisone and cortisone does to you. So that's the danger of what people, and some person, we don't remember his name.
I don't know his name.
No. I want to go where nobody knows his name. It's the new Cheers. The new Cheers, it's just a beer with a zoom. You just tell the bartender what you want, and magically, like 2001 or something, it appears. It just gets to your house. Yeah. But it's people are under a lot of medicine misnomers. You got to wear a mask if you're a dentist. Gynecologist, you definitely want the person wearing a mask.
That's so sad about your sister. Was that really upsetting for you to watch her have a psychotic episode? Yeah,
and it was upsetting for me to watch her die. And I'm since on the board of the Scleroderma Research Foundation, and October 18th is our big benefit, our huge virtual benefit with a lot of comedians and wonderful musicians and friends. And that's to raise money. We've raised $45 million since her death, since she died.
Amazing.
And it's gone to research. But she didn't have to die. She might have died by now. Her life might have been extended a good 30 years. She died in 94. And then 2 years later, I made a TV movie about it for ABC with Dana Delaney playing her. So it's, we're going to see so much COVID stuff in the arts come out of this. There'll be a lot of documentaries that hopefully some tell the real truth. We're getting them now, but it's not over. So we haven't watched The Ark. I mean, we're probably in the middle of it, sadly.
You mean
I
the arc
hope.
of COVID?
Yeah,
I know. That's crazy. That's crazy to think. Like
the arc of the Covident.
I know.
That was my favorite Indiana Jones movie when they come after him and they swab his nose and then
Right.
and then he shoots the guy.
Yeah. And then he gets that text, negative. You said that you've left doctors before?
Yeah, I've had doctors suggest stuff, and so has my wife, and we just go, thanks anyway. Not getting that procedure.
Mm-hmm.
I was told that I had something really wrong with me and was actually scheduled for a procedure, and then I have a good doctor, my main doctor, that said, no, just wait it out. And I was fine. I was like, you got to get a second and third opinion. You can't just listen, and you can't always look at a scan either, because there's all these things that can happen. And sometimes people get, you can take antibiotics and stuff will go away that shows up on something. Be careful if someone's going to cut you.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like whatever the doctor thought you had was very scary and serious. And this is like nothing compared to that. It is a competition.
I had a uterine infection.
Right.
Because people don't know that about me. It's going to be on I'm entering it on my Wikipedia page that
Do you have a uterus?
Yes, because I'm very motherly.
How's your Menses?
Is that a director? Is that
Right. I love his work.
Sam Menses.
Sam Menses. Well, I had this.
What is Menses? Alison?
Menses is your period, your menstruation.
Oh,
Menstruation,
my Menses.
your
I didn't know it was all cuterized. I didn't know. How's your little...
I never thought of Menses as like a cute word. Your Menchies. Your mentions. Your social Menses.
When did that come up? Was that like 5 years old? It's not been around forever.
Oh yeah, that's like the actual medical term, MENSES.
It's not just slang from Valley Girls back in the 80s?
I mean, I could be wrong, but I really don't think so. I think it is I think Menses.
My Menses is fine.
Menses is fun.
I have no crampsies.
The heavy Menses.
I have no
crampsies.
No crampsies this year.
Can I borrow temps? Anyway, I don't care. I don't know why. It's like some OCD thing that is making me tell this dumb story because it doesn't matter. So I'll make it very fast.
No, this is why I want to talk to you.
I had a bump on my
your
ear.
long story. Oh, you have a bump on your
ear. I had a little bump on my earlobe. And I was like, oh no, it's a cyst or it's something that's going to grow and take over my head. I don't know. I went to a dermatologist who was like, yeah, we should probably remove that, have them make an appointment. And I mentioned it to my dad, who's a doctor, retired. And this is back when you could see people. So he looked at it and he was like, it might just be a glorified pimple, which is such a gross term. And I love
it's
the idea
glorified. I think that's wonderful.
Right.
A patriotic
a
pimple.
Valorized, glorified, decorated pimple. And he's like, that's
deified.
Yes. I read the biography of that pimple 6 times, and every time I get something new out of it. And he's like, and that's a really tough area to do surgery on or to cut. Like it could disfigure your ear if you have him do that.
Who doesn't want that?
Yeah. I said, sign me up.
And then you have to do the other side so it's even.
So
and then
it matches.
Get earrings like my mom used to wear that are clip-on, that are bulbous, that cover the whole package. What's the problem? Or just wear your headset all the time. I mean, you're a professional, amazing podcast star. You can get anything with you could have your ears cut off and just have holes because you wear the headphones probably most of the day. I may do
that. It would make them fit more often. It would make sense.
You wouldn't have to scratch your ear at night. You'd just have a little hole.
That's right. Long story short, it did go away. The glorified pimple went away, and I was like, oh, thank God I didn't go and get that cut out.
Yeah.
And get disfigured or whatever. And it made me did sort of lose faith in that dermatologist who I'd only gone to that once. But wait,
And
there
it
was something
should.
else.
It should,
Yeah.
because they want to cut out a cyst. And sometimes I got a cease and desist for how many of these puns can we do? That's my problem.
Oh my God, so many. I've been desisted.
Really? Did you
Yeah.
ask for special desistance?
Yes.
Did you
Wait,
have
there was
did you have desisted parking? That's not anything. I'm sorry. I have nothing. I'm so tired. I can't
Turns
even.
out we can only make like 1.5 of these puns. Wait, there was something I was going to say relating to something though. I
You know
mean,
what?
that's kind of
We're gonna,
always
Allison,
the
we're
case.
gonna. While you think about that, we're gonna take a quick break
Okay.
because I have a sponsor that takes out cysts and then tells
Oh.
you and then refunds your money because you didn't need it done. So
Perfect.
we'll be back in seconds.
I'm going to talk about something now. It's sun soil. Do you even know what that is? I'm going to explain it because that's what I do. These days, I'm telling you, it seems like people are putting CBD in everything. In your green shakes. Do you have green shakes? Do you have the shakes? CBD will help you. See, a lot of it's noise that's out there. But there's one company from Vermont that's worth the hype. It's Sun Soil, and they're in Vermont. How do you not trust something in Vermont? Now, Sun Soil makes tons of products. A lot of people I know use them, and they love them. It is a USDA organic product. It is certified CBD, and it's made from hemp plants. So how the hemp is grown really matters, and sometimes it's not grown well. This is not done by non-experts. This isn't regular civilians. These are people that have farms. Sun Soil farms their hemp in Vermont, and they never use pesticides, herbicides, or GMOs. Simple ingredients, really simple. I try to be mindful about what I'm putting in my body, and I'm talking about, things I ingest, not what I'm putting, That's why Sun Soil is great, and I love it for people that love it, and it's made from simple ingredients that I can pronounce. Many of their products contain coconut oil and hemp. That's it. Do you understand? It's really simple, and it's organic, and it's got fair prices because Sun Soil farms their hemp and makes their CBD oil in-house. Their prices are less than half the price of other brands, so you get organic CBD at an unbeatable price. Transparency? That's me. I'm all about seeing through what I'm saying. Sun Soil clearly labels the amount of CBD that's in each serving. Sun Soil also tests every batch of product at these independent labs and publishes the results on their website. You can read it, and it's real. Sometimes you read stuff because someone just said it. This is actually research, and they publish it on their website. And they give back. Sun Soil donates a percentage of sales via 1% for the planet to environmental and community causes. So Sun Soil makes CBD oil with simple organic ingredients. You get 30% off your first order by going to sunsoil.com/Bob. That's sunsoil.com/Bob. sunsoil.com/Bob for 30% off your first order. sunsoil.com/Bob. You won't be sorry unless you've done something else.
All right, we're back. And
I'm still thinking about what it was. This entire time, still trying to remember what it was that I was going to say, and I've lost it.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you have such a forum that you can always talk. I mean, you have 2 podcasts or 3. You have 3.
I have 2.
Oh,
So I have Alison Rosen as Your New Best Friend, and then I have Childish. Childish is my parenting-ish podcast with Greg Fitzsimmons. But Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend has 2. It comes out twice a week. It has 2 formats. So Monday is the one-on-one, which is what you've been on, and then Thursday is a group show. It's a panel, and we talk about our lives. And I wonder if you can relate to this. Quarantine has given me ample time to overthink. I'm an overthinker to begin with, but this has really allowed me to overthink, and all of a sudden I'll find myself thinking about something that happened, 23 years ago.
Yeah, we tend to obsess and loop is what we do.
Ruminate. But just lately I've been thinking, am I a serious person or am I a silly comedy person? I mean, I know who I am, like in my own life. I'm both. But this thing where I'm trying publicly to be both, which is kind of the Monday show is more serious, even though there's moments of levity. And then the Thursday show is comedy, even though there's moments that are serious. Like, can someone publicly be both? There was
that's me. I do that.
Yes.
And it's fine. I have like 5 dimensions. People don't even know I'm the 5th dimension. People don't no more puns but I've always had that multiplicity kind of thing where I'd be doing a family thing and still I'm doing a couple shows on TV that I just shot last week at this I Could See Your Voice with Ken Jeong, and that was a COVID situation, but it's a family-ish show, and I like doing that. And then when I get to go do stand-up, or other adult things that I do, they're R-rated or whatever someone would call. I just don't want a 5-year-old to watch what I do. So yeah, and I'm serious a lot. The podcast has made me able to communicate what I'd be doing in my stand-up, which is being serious about stuff. So yeah, you're multiple, right? You would be both.
Yeah. Do you feel like people have trouble, like the industry, or I mean, obviously, like you've had this amazing career. So still though, at any points in your career, did you feel like you had to choose? Did you feel like it was potentially confusing? Because I feel like there's this emphasis in this industry to brand yourself.
Yeah, they want to put you
this person or that person. And so I wonder if I've held myself back by trying to be both. Like this is
No. I have the
you
answer.
Don't think so?
No,
Okay.
I know so. I know you have to do what comes out of you. So maybe it's pus from a cyst. No, sorry.
I gotta do it. Maybe there's a tiny little hair in there. You just pull that out and then it's done.
It's always an ingrown hair is my first go-to. And I have like 5 tweezers, but my wife takes them all. I can't find any of them, and all my nail clippers are gone. That's my only problem with marriage is everything's gone.
My husband has scissors that are like his good scissors. For trimming his beard or I don't know what. And if I need to cut a tag off of and if he ever did this to me, I'd be so pissed.
Yeah.
So I hope he doesn't watch this, but I'll occasionally if I can't find something, I'll just take those scissors and like snip the tag off. It's so not what the scissors are for.
But I don't really care as long as it doesn't dull them. Like usually,
I think it dulls them. Yeah. What I do dulls them.
But I'll use a nail clipper to cut the tag off because it's got that little T on it, the plastic T. And then the problem is, if you're as anal retentive as I am, and the thick part of the T that holds it into your garment
stuck in there.
Or you don't know where it is, and then it's stuck in there. It's in
that.
In the elastic band of your favorite stretchy Menses pants.
of your juicy Menses pants.
But I know for a fact, because I'm a guy who was doing 2 family shows for 8 years each, and I went and did an HBO special, which you can't find now because I don't want it to be found. But it was kind of that duality of being family-ish and then coming out and being ballsy and whatever I was doing in my stand-up since I was 17. And so, yeah, it's a part you play. I mean, you look at someone these are geniuses I'm going to mention, but Robin Williams, here he is on stage going blue or not blue. It's just funny. You don't think of he's dirty, but he was considering. But he had a family-ish image, but not really. Mork was edgy. And then all the movies he did, half serious, half comedy. And Richard Pryor. Here's a guy that his stand-up was, honest and wicked, and then his acting sometimes was, family-oriented. He starred in The Toy, with Jackie Gleason and Silver Streak. But those movies with Gene Wilder were a little bit edgier, but still suitable for everybody. But
can you think of a woman who's done both?
Yeah, there's a bunch. Well, Lily Tomlin is someone.
Oh yeah.
She was never that blue, but she was certainly controversial. She spoke politically about things, and trying to think of who else is. There's a bunch. I wish I had it in my mind of someone who would go bluer on stage and then be more family-ish. Who comes to mind? Well, Tiffany Haddish is an example. You know, she'll get on stage and do whatever she wants to do and follow her drum. And then she's done a couple serious films, and she's really talented, obviously.
Right.
And I think Melissa McCarthy's not a stand-up, but she does full-on comedy and could be a stand-up for sure. There's no question she could be.
Yeah.
Other women. Ricky Gervais, oh, he's not a woman. And he's the last person you want to make fun of ever because the payback is a bitch.
Yes. Yeah. For me, it's like I was in the news journalism world, but I was always like silly and funny. And I think that if I had stayed in New York, again, time to navel gaze and think about like when my life forked and stuff. I think if I had stayed in New York, I might have, because the industry there at the time was like, I guess that's still where a lot of the news is focused. You know, so I was going on news shows and I was a talking head and I was writing for magazines and things like that.
What kind of stuff did you write?
Well, so I toggled back and forth between, I was a music journalist for years.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, it was cool. It was very fun. And then I also did like general features, and I did stuff where it wasn't really stunt journalism, but profiles, stuff like that. I did some reported stuff as well. So when I say it wasn't like I was like doing hard-hitting news, but I think I did some news. You know, I sort of had the capacity to do that. I just was never as into that as some of the more general, like what it's like to be alive kind of stuff. And I also like to write humor.
Right.
So I would kind of go back and forth, but I was going on television as a talking head, but then I was also going on TV on like, you know, more humorous shows. I don't know. And so I do want to be taken seriously as an interviewer because I think that is actually I think I'm good at it.
You have an amazing skill set. I mean, when I first did your show, it was at Adam Carolla's studio.
Yes, because I was the news girl on the Carolla show for years.
Right, and then you branched off and had your own show. Did you do the news at the same time you were doing your own show?
Yes. So actually, when I was in New York, the very end of my time in New York, I started doing Alison Rosen's Your New Best Friend as a Ustream show. Do you remember Ustream?
I do.
Yeah, it was like a live streaming platform. I had a chat room.
How many years ago was that?
This was in 2010. So 10 years ago.
Look how long you've been doing this. You're
I
so
know.
amazing. People don't realize that is how so many people have built their foundation. All the people that are the biggest in this industry. When you look how long Joe Rogan's been doing it, Mark Maron, so many people, they've just been, Bill Burr just picked up a mic how many years ago? And that's what you did.
Joe Rogan was also doing, like, Joe Rogan and I would both be featured on the homepage. I don't know whatever happened to him. I hope he's doing well.
I hope he's okay. I don't know.
I hope he's okay.
I mean,
podcasting didn't work out for him, but he has, he can do other stuff.
Well, he works out really well. And
he's so strong.
It is unbelievable. He is all mass.
He really is. He's just
I really do like him. He's just a good guy, you know.
Yes.
He can be very shy. Yeah, that's correct. And he could listen to something from any angle, and I appreciate that. You know, he is, I guess, about as nonpartisan as you can be, but you can see what's true or false. I mean, you can question what seems false.
He does make statements, though, that feel, I don't think he's partisan, but he will make statements where it's like, okay, well, the end result, though, of what you just said is suggesting that people should vote for Rumpelstiltskin. So I don't like that. But
right, yeah.
So
but then I have problems with that because I don't want to become a political promotion, typical showbiz person that's naked on a collection, talking about, vote. I mean, I would say vote, but I've posted it before, but it's really hard because I do listen to other people's concerns about everything. So I try to take in everything I can. I flip through all the channels, and I wind up on, some old Cinemax softcore porn after going through CNN, MSNBC, and Fox, and I find myself on Fox more because I'm like, wow, really? Okay, wow.
To
really?
find out what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's the number one news channel, and if it's not, they say it is. So I used to have a joke, and the joke was, men can breastfeed, and I read that. Okay, I wrote it down, and then I read it. So it's true. So it has to be true.
Has to be true.
Right. So that's where we're at. We're in a society where if anybody says anything, you can say, or Rumpelstiltskin can say, I read this, or somebody told me. And that could literally be a 7-year-old or somebody that just shot a man in his basement. It could be anybody.
I had a professor in college who had started the media studies program, and this was, I'm very young, and yet this was some time ago. It's
what
crazy.
School is it? Yeah,
Pomona College. Do you know Pomona College? One of the
I thought you said Corona College, and I got really upset.
COVID-19 college, the School of Hard Knocks.
That's your sophomore year.
Pomona College.
Right.
And he had started the media studies program there, and he really emphasized media literacy. And he was very taken with the internet and with we're becoming a wired planet and Gaia theory, which I don't know if that theory is still bandied about, but it's the idea that the Earth is becoming
Guy Fieri.
He was really taken with Guy Fieri.
So it's really about just dive-ins and drives, drive-ins and dives and fried food.
That's right. Wearing your sunglasses on the back of your neck
while you're pulling pork and
right.
slathering it.
It's just about It's about bold flavors that excite your taste buds. It's about slathering, and it's
oil and barbecue, and make sure it gets all over your face.
That's right.
I actually know Guy, and I like him. He's a crack up.
I've heard he's a really good guy.
He's come to my stand up. He goes, you talk like I think, man. I went, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, what have I done?
One of those compliments that you're like, I thank you. No, Gaia theory. I think it's GAIA.
Right.
And the idea that the Earth is becoming this living organism with all the wire, the internet, and the way it's, I don't know. It's a look it up. It's interesting. It's dated, but he really emphasized media. He passed away, so he never saw sort of what happened with the internet. But I feel like he had predicted so many things, and he was so prophetic. And and media literacy was so important to him. We need to, become literate in this world, and I feel like that's what everyone is missing.
100%.
Yeah, it's very it's disappointing.
Everybody's been Chris Rock talked about it on the first SNL back in studio, which is Walter Cronkite. We miss that news person. I mean, I was a kid, and John F. Kennedy was assassinated. They sent me home from school, and you weren't born. And I walked in. My mom was ironing, and it was a black and white TV, and Walter Cronkite was crying, and it was live, and everybody was watching him, and he was crying, and that's what drew us in, because it was a journalist trying to give the best journalism. He had the writers, the producers, but it wasn't. But we were still fed lies, but it was done in a way where you couldn't really fact check. There was no internet, so one of our problems is one of the greatest inventions of humanity.
Right.
So this Gaia theory makes sense. I mean, you got the Earth is a living organism, just like the human body. No one sees it that way, but it's so obvious. And if you put a grid around it and a bunch of wiring, and
it's like the wires are like a vascular system, making us just one big breathing brain.
But except without the internet, we're draining the vascular system. Pumping oil out of the ground, taking down your forests, all that stuff is like literally mutilating your body. It's like draining your blood out. And cutting off all your body hair, which I'm for. I think that's good. But that has nothing to do with deforestation. So,
have you done laser hair removal?
No, I never will. But there's one place I would. Oh, are you okay?
Yes. I know you can't cough anymore.
No. Well,
I'm
some
okay.
people can. Do you
Right.
want me to get you a test? Do you want me to have somebody come over?
Yes, please.
I have
It
allergies.
is-
Do you have allergies?
Yes.
So
It
when
is-
you
Yeah, go
don't
ahead.
sleep, they're worse. When you don't sleep, your allergies are much worse.
Yeah. It's
You were going to say it is. I'm sorry.
no. I was just gonna say, the other day we were on a walk and one of my kids sneezed, and I was like, "Did anyone see that?" Like, I know it's nothing, but did anyone see that? You know, you have to worry about stuff like that. It's weird.
But I don't know if kids are carriers. I mean, I don't know what the science is telling us. They're saying under 5 or something.
I don't know. One of the things that's exhausting me is trying to figure out whether we're going to send Elliot, the 3.5-year-old, back to preschool. Initially, our pediatrician said she's telling her patients not. This was back in May. Like, she's telling them not to go back to preschool. It's too soon. It's too iffy. And then the last time we saw her, which was like maybe a month or a month and a half ago, she said that she is telling people to go back to preschool now if they want, especially if there's a sibling, because it's just like so, like they've been home for so long. It's so hard on the kids and on the sibling, especially. Like, they are kind of, I mean, they're very sweet, but they're at each other's throats a little bit.
And it's not normal. It's not natural for them to not
No.
socialize. So I
Right.
get that.
So we are debating it. We will probably send him back, but it scares me. But a lot of my friends have sent their kids back to preschool. So to your question of whether they're carriers or not, whether they can transmit it, I've heard both. I don't know.
Yeah, so have I. For the most part, I'm hearing that younger kids have not been carrying
It's
it.
rare.
But I
think
know
it's rare.
teenagers have had it.
Yes.
I know that. So we have to just dig out of this. We have to,
Yeah.
and we will. We're going to, and science is going to do it. You just have to. You have to do the test trials. You can't just make up that you have something, or be on a bunch of drugs that are definitely not good for you, because cortisones and prednisones, which Rumpelstiltskin took, and a lot of people, it's good patient therapy for fixing the symptoms, but
Right.
it can also ruin your tendons. It can
Yes.
actually destroy them, and they can break.
Isn't Rumpelstiltskin due for a crash?
Rumpelstiltskin, the little guy that says, "Don't say my name." I believe
Yes.
he didn't.
That
Didn't he weave or sew?
He weaves something out of gold, but he takes your firstborn. If you can guess his name, though, you can keep your firstborn, I think.
So
But
it's
I don't-
exactly like the person that we're using as the metaphor.
Yes, it kind of is. Why did he? I feel like she needed to create gold for the king or something. And
Aha.
so, she made a deal with the devil, so to speak, which, anyway.
who
if I remember.
hasn't?
Who hasn't? Who hasn't made a Faustian bargain? Lost it. I lost it again. I'm not usually someone who loses.
You know
what
what
I
I
was
don't
gonna
like
say.
hearing? I don't like hearing that the polls are rigged, because Polish people have been through enough.
I read Truly Tasteless Jokes, and they have been.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
they have
not
been
right.
through
We
enough.
told Polish jokes, and I guess I'm Russian and Polish. So basically, I could hack myself. Because I wouldn't know, because my Polish side wouldn't know I'm being hacked. And the
Right.
Russian side just goes for the gut.
Those jokes from Truly Tasteless Jokes are so not okay these days, but I
Right.
still think they are so funny.
Some of them. And, every culture has those jokes. When you're in Canada, they do Newfie jokes. And
like Newfoundland?
Yeah, and I've been there, and I don't like them. And I've yelled at them for doing them. And they laugh, because everybody wants to make a joke on the downtrodden people. And I think where we're at right now is, it's enough. It's just enough. And if the Dukes of Hazzard wants to do it in the privacy of their own home, whatever. And if anybody wants to do it, but it just doesn't seem funny. It's not funny right now.
Yeah. I'll give you that. And in
Unless, I don't know, go ahead.
maybe if I reread it, I would actually go, "Oh, this is immature and this doesn't make me laugh anymore." But my memory is the cleverness of some of the jokes making me laugh.
Yeah, it should be just, a simpleton, but there's no current word for that. That's
Right.
that's PC.
Yeah.
But, a fool, no one wants to hear a fool or a simpleton. They think they're reading, I don't know.
Chaucer?
Chaucer. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. Canterbury Tales. I wrote one once, and I did so well.
You wrote a Canterbury Tale?
Yeah, I made up one for my 12th grade English teacher.
Wow.
And she really liked that, but then she gave me D's on other projects because I did what some people do, which is I made up the Odyssey. I didn't read it. You know how people fake and lie and make up stuff? I can't think of anyone offhand. But
I don't know anyone who does that, yeah.
or someone who takes, doesn't read the book. That's basically it. Never read the book or a book, except their own book. But
Right.
But it's very interesting. I didn't read the Odyssey. I made an 8mm stop motion movie at a claymation and did in one frame
Wow.
and had the Cyclops and had all of Odysseus and his men, or Ulysses, however you like to take it. And then I wrote a paper and I just made it all up. And she gave me a D- and said, "You are my student, not my entertainer." And I was in 12th grade. I went, well, I don't know.
Just you wait, lady.
I'd like to talk to you, Mrs. Sherman.
Oh,
that wasn't Mrs. Sherman. That was Mrs. Lackey. That's a rough name. But so was Saget. But yeah, Mrs. Lackey was very mad at me for trying to make her laugh. But I was an idiot. I didn't know what I was doing.
A few questions. Why do you think the D- and not just an F or not just a D?
Because she knew I had talent and I was being creative in the lie that I weaved. That I had woven like Rumpelstiltskin spinning gold.
My second question, did you think that she wouldn't realize that you had made this up? Or were you just like, I'm going to swing for the fences and she'll be so entertained that it won't matter?
That's what I did. I went into that mode and just tried to be funny and put effort into it. But I just didn't have the bandwidth to read the book. Like I wouldn't read Moby Dick, but I had to make up 2 years of English in 6th grade. Sorry, I keep going from 6th to 12th. That's why we're exhausted, Allison.
Yes.
I am exhausted. I'm not like this normally. So in 12th grade, I had to make up 2 years of English because I moved right before 12th grade. So I had to make up 11th and 12th grade English, and I got lucky in a lady named Mrs. Zimmerman, my most influential teacher, and she really helped me. And she gave me Moby Dick to read. It was just one-on-one. And that learning one-on-one, and I said, I can't read this. It's about a knot. I can't read about a knot for 6 pages. And then she looked at me and she gave me Of Mice and Men.
Oh, wow.
And I read it in 2 days. I went and I said, this is the best thing I ever read. And then she started to give me a lot of things. Grapes of Wrath. She gave me books that meant something because they were about real people, the human condition. And then I used to sing songs for her because I wrote a lot of music when I was 16, 17. And then I would play 8mm movies for her. So that goes back to what you said originally, which is being a hyphenate. You having, because I was just organically doing this. I didn't think I'd be an entertainer. I didn't think I'd go into show business, but I just did it.
You were going to be a filmmaker, right?
I was, yeah.
Or a doctor.
I was going to be a doctor. Oh, you know everything about me. I was going to be a doctor, and then I did 1 semester of pre-med classes, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do math. I couldn't do chemistry.
Oh, your sound, I don't know if you can hear me, but your sound just dropped out.
My sound dropped out?
Yeah. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, that's weird. But I'm cool because I'm on the mic, too. So
Okay.
Just like what I'm talking about. My sound is hyphenated.
What was the last thing you said?
I said, we're going to run a test pattern now. I just have brain hash. I don't know. Let the listeners write in and tell me what I said.
Okay.
They can put it in the comments. Is Bob high? No, Bob's tired. Bob watched the news till 3 a.m.
Did you really?
I did. I've been working all day, so I wanted to catch up, and that's a mistake. It's like keeping your phone by the bed. Yes,
which I do, and I don't sleep well, so I wake up a lot in the middle of the night, and I know I shouldn't do this, but I look at my phone in the middle of the night, and lately it's just been to see like any breaking news, and did anyone else test positive? And there's been like nothing particularly exciting in the last couple days. The news that I think we're all waiting for hasn't happened, and I don't know if it will. or that many of us are waiting for. But yeah, like that is definitely not good to be scrolling when I'm not awake.
No. And then you saw Moonstruck years ago, right?
I actually didn't. I know I need to.
You and your husband required. It's so,
I think he's probably seen it, but he'll watch it
but
again.
no, he has to. It's so watchable again. It's a perfect
Okay.
movie. It's Nicolas Cage and Cher.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. And it's directed by Norman Jewison, who also did Fiddler on the Roof and Jesus Christ Superstar. And
I loved JCS. I really do.
I love that
I love
play.
it.
I saw the musical at Universal Amphitheater when it was outdoors, before it was
Wow.
when it was an outdoor thing. You saw the whole valley while I watched Jesus Christ Superstar with Ted Neely.
Oh, who played him in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Sometimes I'll get these like out of time crushes. Like when I was a little kid, I had a crush on the guy who played the Artful Dodger in Oliver. And
Me
then
too.
Well, then we have that in common.
That guy looks exactly Jack Wilder, and he
Yes.
looks exactly like Harry Styles.
Yes.
Isn't
But
that
I remember
weird?
I remember at the time thinking, and I was like 6 or something, thinking he's 30, like he's inappropriate for me. And then I also have this like crush on Ted Neely, but he's like 70 something now if he's still alive.
Doesn't matter. He played Jesus. He's okay.
Okay.
He's ageless.
That's right.
He was beautiful in the movie. Really
Yes.
beautiful. And the music is the best thing I think Andrew Lloyd Webber ever wrote.
I love it. I love it too. I saw Jesus Christ Superstar at the Pantages like a year ago, and I follow the woman who played Mary Magdalene on Instagram, and she posted a photo, and she's like, crazy to think this opened 1 year ago tonight. And it's so weird to me that I saw that less than a year ago, because that feels like a lifetime ago.
It does. 6 months is a lifetime ago.
Yeah, time is there's periods of time that go so slowly, and then during this pandemic, and then periods that go really fast. Everything feels confused. And I actually got this wave of, I haven't had this much, but I got this wave of sadness the other night, just remembering March and remembering the things that were in my head at the beginning of the pandemic, and like, why was that in my head? Oh, because that related to something in January, and just thinking of all the time we've lost.
But we haven't. That's what
I know.
No, I'm not trying to look. It's driving us all crazy. It's not good for us, but we have to make it good for us. We have to do something and think positively, which is really hard. It's weird because you have to. We're not engineered that way. You're feeling everything that's going on. There's nothing but unrest. There's nothing but, we're waiting on science.
Right.
And we're all scared to death, and we need help. We somehow have to know it's all going to be okay. And I know if my parents were alive, my dad would say, it's all going to be okay. You'll see. And he went through the Great Depression, and which he said was not great. So they named it wrong.
Oh, those marketing geniuses.
Right? They branded that so well.
I know.
And
now we just believe that it was the best of times.
Whoa. No, because people, we might have another one soon, there's not much we can do, but there are things we can do, which is technology, and do a lot of good things that will give millions of people jobs if we do things right, if we advance and we don't just drain the earth and then wring it out and throw it away because we don't care. Because so what? Our kids will have it and that'll be it, but.
I mean, I'm sure there's been plenty of times in history that the humans alive at that time thought we're on the brink of extinction. This is it. Yet I feel like we actually are, like more so than in the. But eventually, someone will be right about that.
Well, that human life can be wiped out, yes, because we are right now shocked and still surprised that this happened. But I remember, as a kid, we had the Cold War, and we thought the Russians were going to bomb us, and so I had to duck and cover. We had bomb drills all the time in school. Now, how does hiding under a desk protect you from radiation and Hiroshima? How does that help you? I'm going to hide under the desk while I'm burned to salt.
Right. Yeah. That makes no sense, but it's all they had at the time.
Right, a desk.
Going under a desk. I remember drills, earthquake drills, where you'd climb under your desk. Now, when there's an earthquake, I either do nothing or I get under a doorway, and I think that one's been debunked.
Yeah, because the doorway, if you're in the doorway and the door closes, you can be crushed or hurt really badly if it's a serious earthquake. I went through one in 1971 out here, and it was bad. It was a 7.1, but they marked it down to a 6.9. The joke was
Inflation.
There was a discount. Yeah, exactly. I took the monetary route. I want to go back to talking to you about something.
Yes.
To make you comfortable about something, and it's really what you've been doing all these years is exactly what you should be doing. You can be serious, and then I'm just telling you, I know it. I'm 64 years old, and I've been broadcasting in different ways. But you're so savvy at this, and you're so good at it that you can be as serious as you want to be. You're the navigator of yourself, whether you're hosting or guesting, but you're hosting all the time, and you're people's friend. You've aptly named your podcast, and the other one you do with Greg. I mean, I love Greg. I just had him on also and was on his also. And he's just a friend, he's a real special guy.
He is.
But you have to know that I know for a fact that you could be serious and you can be funny when you choose. And they go together. If you're all just one thing, everybody's just one thing.
Right.
Everybody's also multidimensional if they let themselves be.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah,
that makes me feel better.
You're right on the path.
Thank you. It's so silly, but the something that brought this up to me was I received an Apple Podcast review that was 1 star, and it was so funny. It was like, this show is just about farts and bad smells. If you enjoy hearing self-obsessed people talk about farts and bad smells, this is the show for you. It's like a car, a car accident. You can't help but look. And so I posted it, and I'm like, sometimes a reviewer just gets it right. And
I was going to say, where do I sign up?
Yeah. And so a lot of people were like, the only thing is this should be 5 stars. And I thought it was so funny that I wanted to make it my pinned tweet on Twitter. But then I thought, but my Monday show is like a legit, serious interview that, like I said, can be funny and light, but it's like, it can be deep. And if I make that my pinned thing, then are people going to think, is that going to somehow take away from me being seen as like a real interviewer? Would someone not want to come on the show because of that? So it's sort of just contending with, and I realize this is so much about how other people see me, which is like a little bit, I should be more like, who cares? But it's sort of contending with the 2 formats of my show being in the same feed.
Yeah, but it makes sense. I mean, that I do that.
Yeah.
I'll have a conversation on a Monday, and on a Thursday I'll call people that call and leave messages and see how they're doing. And it's sad. There are people out there hurting.
Yeah.
But you are doing something that's so, I mean, I don't know, you're so relatable.
Thank
you. And you're just a person, and people need that. I mean, you really are a friend. Your voice is a person's friend. So
thank you.
And you're smart. You just haven't seen Moonstruck. I had a point to that comment.
Oh, yeah.
The point was Olympia Dukakis, who I think won an Oscar for that movie, and got a bunch of nominations and won something. It's an amazing movie. Picks up the phone middle of the night and goes, "Who died?" So that's like,
Yes.
That's why you look at your phone.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you look at your phone. I do it too. We're looking, okay, what happened?
That's funny.
But we're not getting attacked at the moment by another country. We aren't. I thought when this happened that it was germ warfare. I thought that something was poisoned, the water, the air, and in a way we have been. And, we have been. It should not have gotten out. However, it got out from China. I just wish people could pronounce things properly. But
same.
It's just, I mean, this is a good testing time, and I do look at it, as people say, a reset button. We have to look at it in the broader scheme, or we'll go nuts.
At the beginning, I did a lot of that. And then somehow my focus got kind of tunnel visioned. Like at the beginning, I think the contrast between life before and now was so stark that there was, like, remember everyone was talking about, it's amazing how clear the air is. Now we just take that for granted. Now I don't think that much about the meaning of it all, but you're right, we should.
But California is far from that. I mean, we were watching the skies go dark here and it's a 7-mile drive to where the fire is.
Yeah,
from
that's
LA.
True.
But you're right. We were laying there looking out at the sky and going, "Oh, it's so quiet and peaceful." And now it's like we're rebooting on the reboot. We have to somehow. Everybody says new normal. In some ways, yes. But when I went to Japan years ago, they wear masks all the time because of pollution and because of germs. And I think they have a pretty good situation or a better handle on it than we do, for sure.
Right.
But there's something about being listening to the government, if the government would give you the mandate that this is real. I mean, that's all we needed to come out of the White House, is to say to everybody, look, you might find it uncomfortable, but this really does work. Mm-hmm. And then the people that don't want to wear it would be less. I mean,
the USPS was going to send everyone 5 masks. And
you can't, but then they stopped the USPS for a month. I talked to somebody on my podcast that works for them and told me that in Florida, 100,000 pieces of mail were being held in different post offices. They would not put it through. There was no staff to do it. And then they finally unclogged the pipes when it was said, you can't do this. You can't.
Right.
I mean, that's why the new postmaster was brought in, which was to clog the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know
elderly people can't get their meds. And what about their grandkids that take their grandparents' meds? Then they don't get the meds.
And almost, like I mean, who cares? But
I care.
I'm waiting on some paychecks that are held up because of the slow mail.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you scan them and then go into your bank that way?
I did, and then one got flat. Like the person who wrote the check, their security software at their bank is like too aggressive, and so it rejected it or something. And that made me think maybe it's better to just actually go to the bank and put it into the ATM machine.
Yeah.
But I've been doing a combination of both. I'm
a believer in anybody can screw up. Like we're in danger right now. That's what maybe the good that'll come out of this is more things are in check. I mean, if people go, look what Facebook has done, look what Twitter does, what are all these, and everybody's an influencer because you have a check next to your name. That means, you're not putting out hogwash.
Have you seen The Social Dilemma?
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
I did too. And it brought to mind exactly what's real,
Yeah.
And we're living through everybody trying to go back in time and get all the other hackers, try to burn people from 10 years ago and 5 years ago. And it's like, can't we just move forward and try to get things right now? We're in the middle of, instead of looking for a whole case to put people in jail, why don't we, it's fine if you want to do that, fine, but don't spend all your energy on it. How about saving the country? How about saving, let's get this virus and let's actually tell people what it really is. And
that would be nice and revolutionary, really.
That's the sin. That's the sin of what we're living through.
The BS?
Yeah, Bob Saget.
Bob Saget is a plague.
You're not the first that said that. Your kids will say to you in 20 years, Mom and Dad, oh my God, that was my childhood. I can't believe that happened. And we'll all talk about it. This is what we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. It's the unthinkable.
I hope it doesn't last their whole childhood.
No, it won't. I mean, but they'll remember those 2 years. I mean,
It's definitely the biggest. I mean, I lived through 9/11. No, this is like
you
definitely
weren't
the
in
biggest.
you weren't in the buildings, were you?
No. Oh no, I don't mean I survived it in that way. I just mean I was alive during that time. Because I was gonna say this is like the biggest, weirdest thing in my lifetime for sure.
That was the. I was in New York 2 weeks after, and I have friends that went down there and tried to help, and then they said, "Please don't come down here, unless you're a first responder or trained medical professional."
Mm-hmm.
And I went there, and I was with Chris Hardwick, and we were walking on the streets, and we were heading down, I think we were as far down as 13th Street, and we walked by a fire station, and the firefighter said, just don't go any further. Don't go downtown any further, because we were going to take a walk till we knew we couldn't go any further.
Right.
But it was too upsetting. It was so, and people forget. Some people forget. And that's why they always say never forget. That's why they say don't forget the Holocaust, because these are catastrophes that are so painful. And so how do we get out of them? And that's where humor comes in, I think.
I think so.
And trying to help humanity. So
you were there 2 weeks after. Did you travel? You weren't allowed to travel there, though, right?
Then it was 3 weeks. No, I flew there. It must have been 3 weeks later. I did Howard Stern, and I did a couple other shows. It was 3 weeks after, I think.
Mm-hmm. Were you afraid to fly there?
Yeah.
I remember being afraid of my first flight there after.
Yeah. And Chris was there. I think he was living there for a while. I think he was doing something. I can't remember. But it was, we survived. A lot of people, it's so tragic to discuss it. To really go there is a whole other discussion that we're having enough trouble right now, but you can't forget it. And but this is, people are dying, so we've got to, but more people get hit by lightning than
die on a plane.
Get COVID. That's an escort. That's an escort who gives it.
That's right.
Stormy Daniels, if she'd been around the president, would have COVID right now. So what's your day like now? What are you going to do?
Well, I am probably going to have you on my show.
Really?
Alison Rosen is your new best friend.
That's so cool.
And then I'm going to record another show with my husband, a Patreon bonus episode, because I'm on Patreon, patreon.com/Alison Rosen. And then...
Say that one more time. You said it so fast.
Sorry. Patreon.com/Alison Rosen. Do you know Patreon?
No. Tell me what that is.
You don't know Patreon? Oh.
Is it a kind of tequila?
No. Patreon is, it's sort of like Kickstarter, but instead of subscribing, or instead of like kickstarting a project, you subscribe to an artist or creator or podcaster or whatever on a monthly basis, or you can also do it on an annual basis. And there's different reward tiers. And so you subscribe, and each person offers different things. So I do bonus episodes each week. I do bonus video episodes. I do live streams, behind the scenes content. You can submit questions for my guests, that kind of stuff.
That's so cool.
Lots of podcasters have. You might be interested. Lots of podcasters are on Patreon.
I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah,
do you like doing it with your husband? Is that fun?
It is. Yeah. So the Thursday show, the group show, he used to be a regular on that, and then once this started and I started doing it over Zoom, because it's hard for us both to be on our computers in one room doing Zoom. He's only been doing the intro. He does the intros. He's very funny. He's only been doing those. He hasn't been a regular on the show. But I've been having him. Sometimes I'll do Monday shows with him, and then we take calls from listeners. So I know what you mean about people having a tough time out there.
Right.
But yeah, I do enjoy recording with him. It's fun. I feel like we've gotten into a rhythm.
I could probably do it with my wife, and I mean the podcast, but I
Right.
can do it with her when she comes home. But she's really good. She does, broadcasting. She has her thing. Eat, Travel, Rock is her thing. She's an influencer, which means she tells me what to do.
What's your day? What are you going to do?
I am going to do the Alison Rosen podcast.
Oh,
and
you're
then,
so lucky.
Right? And then I'm going to work on my scleroderma benefit and edit some videos. And Joel Gallen's producing, who's really great.
I know that name. He does all the MTV Movie Awards.
He did, and he did all the roasts. And,
cool.
And he's a friend, and he also got an Emmy Award after 9/11. They did those 2 nights of 4-hour music acts, and amazing. It was an amazing thing. It was very solemn. There were a lot of candles lit. It was quite beautiful and quite heartbreaking and quite unifying for everybody. It was 2 nights on all the networks, and they made an Emmy category for that for him.
Wow.
And gave him the Emmy Award. And it was, that is what we could use, is that unification.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. That's what dare I say, I thoughts and prayers, that really, that's worn itself out in 2020.
A little bit.
Heartfelt compassion. And I think the key hashtag is empathy. That's something that we're lacking. That's something that we need it bad. We need to
Agreed.
pump it with a turkey baster into the Earth's core. Just
Yes.
empathy, because that's what's gone. If you run on empathy in life and in office, you could and if you can fake sincerity, but if you can really mean it, I think that's how we'll do this. That's how
I
we'll
think
get
you're
through.
right, and that's exactly what's lacking. Because you have people just, and I think a lot of it is what you see on social media. It's like if someone expresses a genuine emotion, if they're sad about something, then you have people just being like, "Oh, liberal tears," or I don't know. I don't mean to get partisan again, but
yeah, I know
there's
it's
a
not
mean-spiritedness,
and it comes from the other side too. I mean, there are people on all over the aisle. The aisles shouldn't have aisles. I think they should just be there's no entrance. It's just round, and they drop people into it. So there's no other side of the aisle. But people do sit on other sides. But there's other people that aren't being heard that have something nice to say that are what you would call more from the right.
right?
There are. I was going to say there's good people on both sides, but that phrase
That's been taken too.
that phrase will never be in the vernacular again.
No. There are decent people. Like I had Essie Cupp and Mary Catherine Ham on my podcast, and they are both conservative voices, and they're decent people.
For sure.
So there are good people who are on both sides.
I met Essie Cupp. I was the roast master for James Carville at the Kennedy Center years ago.
Oh, cool.
And Al Sharpton was there, and a bunch of people were there. Jeff Ross, I think, and Harry. What's Harry's name?
Condabolo.
Yeah,
I think I'm saying it.
It's got a U at the end. Condabaloo? I don't know.
Maybe.
But
I know
everybody, please help me and look it up. And he's great, by the way. He's wonderful. And Tucker Carlson was sitting there, and I walked over to him and I said, "How you doing?" And he seemed like a nice guy. And then he went, "I'm okay. I'm just doing what I do." And he was belittling himself. He was self-effacing. How do you like that? And now you don't expect that right now.
No. I met Ann Coulter, and years ago, she was so nice. My mom was with me. She was like super nice to my mom. She was super friendly. She was very likable, and you don't see that coming.
No. It's really interesting. And James Carville was fantastic. And my wife Kelly and I, we were staying at the same hotel as he and his wife. And he's a Democrat and his wife's a Republican.
Yes.
And I said, we're like that. And they said, well, you just don't take it home with you. We have discussions. And when we get to a certain point, we just stop. And that's called dignity. And that's called discourse. And that's called listen to it takes discipline. But then you get used to it. I mean, I get into it sometimes with anybody. I had a friend the other day that was talking about violence and saying he thinks it's necessary. And I'm like, never. And he said, well, that's what finally turned the clock in the 60s. Well, this is not the 60s. Can we move the needle forward and
Right.
peacefully make it work? But a lot of people are hurt. You know, a lot of people are hurting really
So
bad.
wait, was your friend like advocating for a revolution? Is that kind of violence?
In a way that people wouldn't listen. And that's what we all fear. We don't want a civil war. The only civil war I want to see is like Endgame, Avengers, you know?
When the funny thing is I've been listening to Les Miserables like nonstop. I don't know why. My music habits have changed in quarantine. At the beginning, I was listening to No Doubt a lot, who are like, I like them. I'm from Orange County. I feel like it's in my blood. But suddenly that's like all I want to hear. And now it's just been 1987 cast recording of Les Miserables. But anyway, when
that's
I
Civil War. It's a Civil War march, you know?
When I asked if your friend is advocating for revolution, it just fired up in my head.
Can you hear the people
singing? Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of people are worried about it and thinking about it.
Yeah. So Ben Sheehan, he wrote a book called OMG WTF Does the Constitution Actually Say? And his premise is that the Constitution is like a user manual for our government, and it's supposed to be a government for the people, by the people. The Constitution explains how to operate the government, and yet we, the people, don't know what's in it. In school, we spend all this time studying history, but we barely study civics. So he broke the Constitution down so that it's really understandable. It's like very masterfully done how he did it. So anyway, I was asking him, are you worried about the election being stolen? Could that really happen? And he was saying that he's not worried about that so much anymore. What he is worried about is violence on election day.
That's what I'm worried about.
Mm-hmm. It's scary.
Yeah. I might just beat the shit out of myself on election day at home.
Good. Beat everyone to the punch.
Just like Steve Martin in All of Me with Lily Tomlin.
I love that movie.
That movie, if anybody hasn't seen that and Moonstruck, that's a prerequisite. Well, Allison, I'm going to let you go and then talk to you again.
That's right. Thank you so much for having me. This was delightful. I love you.
You're so wonderful. You really are. And everybody should listen to both of your podcasts, which is, Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. And the one with Greg Fitzsimmons.
Childish.
And it's mostly about kids. I mean, you're talking about raising and how you deal with stuff.
Yes, because I have 2 young kids, and then he has 2, he has a 16-year-old and an 18 or 19-year-old. So we are sort of on different sides of parenting.
Yeah.
But it's fun. That being said, I would say maybe we get a lot of people who let us know, I don't have kids, but I love the show. So you don't need kids to listen to the show or to enjoy it. Because we also talk a lot about our lives, and we talk about all sorts of stuff. So
there's a lot of moral issues you bring up too, because when you have kids, you want to know what to teach them and how to parent. And you really don't know if you're a good parent, I always say, until they grow up. And then you go, wow, I had something to do with that. I'm so proud. And and it's cool because Greg is not the softest guy. He didn't used to be. He used to be a comedian pit bull out of Boston, Right. And then New York. And hearing him do this show, Childish, with you it just makes me feel good because
he is a sensitive guy.
Very.
Yeah. And it's sweet to see the sweet side of him. We do a segment called Highs and Lows. Not the most creatively named, but we talk about our high of the week and our low of the week. And his high of the week this past week was his daughter spending more time with he and his wife. When she comes home from work, there's a period of time where she was just going straight into her bedroom, but now she'll come out and spend time with them. That's his high of the week.
I submit that's what's great about this time. As terrible as this time is, it's brought people together. I did a Zoom last night with cousins that I haven't seen in forever and found out that my grandfather, that wasn't his real last name.
Wow.
His name was Comer, my mother's father, but it wasn't his real last name. He took the name of the other side of his family because he didn't feel, I guess, as represented by his own. And he was also a fall-down drunk.
Oh. You didn't know these things?
Nothing. I found out on his family Zoom birthday call. So it was interesting. Well, I'm going to talk to you soon. I can't thank you enough for being on.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful. You've made me feel better.
That makes me happy. So that'll be $150, as all comedians say.
Oh, that's cheap.
Yeah, I know. I do it. I use Bitcoins. Are they still a thing?
I'm not really up on my crypto, but I think so.
I like that just now, people, if they're not watching this on YouTube, you cleared your throat into your inside of your elbow, and there's no one there, right?
I don't know why I did that.
You did that so I could see that you don't just go, outward into the air. Yeah, it's much nicer to cover your mouth, but then you go into, we've been taught, when you get a swab in your mouth at the drive-in places, like I go to one not far from here sometimes because I like to get tested a lot because it's one of my things. They say cough into your arm 5 times.
Yes.
And then spin around and say Candyman, or say Rumpelstiltskin. Anyway, maybe we'll get rid of Rumpelstiltskin. I don't know.
Oh, God, I hope.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon.
Yes.
And you're just the best and adorable and lovable. And everybody has to listen to both your podcasts pretty much all day long.
Please. And follow me on social media at Alison Rosen. On my Instagram.
You're at Alison Rosen.
On Twitter and Instagram. And on Instagram,
it's 1L. Alison is 1L.
It's
and Rosen is Rose with an N at the end.
Yes. So Alison, Rose with an N. I just recently decided on Instagram, I'm just going to post like super glam professional shots of me because I feel like I need more again, who cares? I feel like I need more followers.
Right.
And so why not do what the other accounts that have tons of followers do, which is just basically post thirst trap photos. So yeah, go there to see photos of me looking glam that like really relate to nothing. But I have the photos. I may as well post them.
It's your account if it makes you feel good.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
If I posted what made me feel good, it would be like pictures of ducklings.
No, do that. Do that.
I will. I'll do that too. I'll do all of it.
There's people out there. I don't think you're allowed to post poop. I don't think. I hope not.
I'll try it and I'll let you know if I get banned.
Boy, I can quiet a room. Would you ever post food? Do you ever post like when you're cooking?
No, not very often. I mean, I'm sure I have before, but unlike your wife, I cannot, and I'm imagining she like knows how to make food look really good.
Oh, she's amazing at it. That's that's her thing.
I don't know how to make it look good. So it just looks kind of like, nah.
Try a filter.
I'll try a filter.
Well,
I'll post someone else's photos.
So go to Alison Rosen on Instagram and see the glam photos, and at Alison Rosen at Twitter to see the interesting comments that you make, and they get to follow your podcast.
That's right.
Your podcast. Sisses.
Thank you so much, Bob.
I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Alison.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, that was Alison Rosen, and she's not my new best friend. She is my friend. We're kind of acquaintances plus, but I do love her, and she is such a positive person. I said acquaintances plus not to put her down, but sometimes I'll say people I'm good friends with, and then I overdo it sometimes. So I just really love people, and I guess I still want friends. But most of the people that I've had on the podcast, I know, and I've had relationships with, and we had to break up for, what do you call that? When it's irreconcilable differences. I don't know why I had to search for that. It wasn't necessary to say. But Alison Rosen and I have none of those because she is so likable and so amicable. So listen to both of her podcasts, Childish with Greg Fitzsimmons and Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend, which is interesting because it's been on for 10 years in different incarnations. She's not your new best friend, but it's such a cute name, and she is cute. So thank you. And thank you for calling me when you do on this podcast, and keep calling, and I'll announce it. And, all the stuff you do, rate, review, and comment, positive comments. You can do negative. I just don't love them, but I like honesty. Don't go and write something mean now just because I said that. Anyway, I'm sending you guys my best. I hope you're hanging in. Get more sleep than I had last night. It's just one of those days, you wake up and the coffee don't do it. Drink too much of it, and you're gonna need a pad. Okay, everybody, take care, and I'll be talking to you.